Thank you for joining in on the virtual public meeting for the Cross Charlotte Trail segments from Mallard Creek Church Road to Cabarrus County. My name is Scott Curry. I am the Active Transportation Coordinator for the City of Charlotte and the Planning Manager on the city side for the Cross Charlotte Trail project. Next slide. In this presentation, you'll hear an overview of the Cross Charlotte Trail. We're going to talk about the two segments that are in planning right now, Mallard Creek Church Road to Pavilion Boulevard and Pavilion Boulevard to Cabarrus County. We'll end the presentation with some links to a feedback survey that will be available on the website where you can provide input and get in touch with the Cross Charlotte Trail project team. Next slide. To start our overview of the Cross Charlotte Trail and the Mecklenburg County Greenway System, I'm going to hand it over to Katie Lloyd, a senior planner with Mecklenburg County Park and Recreation.
Thanks, Scott. Mecklenburg County has been constructing greenway trails throughout the county since the 1970s. When we complete public surveys, paved walking and biking trails are typically the #1 requested amenity in our system, with natural surface trails being a close second. Our current Greenway Master Plan calls for 308 miles of these paved trails throughout the county, with an additional 200+ miles of overland connectors along streets. There are approximately 55 miles of greenway trail on the ground today. Due to the public demand, we are currently implementing an accelerated greenway plan with a goal to build 30 new miles between 2019 and 2023. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, we have about 55 miles of greenway on the ground. We also have about 15 miles of access trails that connect these facilities to neighborhoods, commercial areas, and parks. In order to meet our 30-mile by 2023 goal, we are working on designing and constructing more than 40 miles of new trails. These projects often take a while to implement, particularly if there is real estate to acquire or if there are major physical barriers. Through partnerships with the City of Charlotte and the surrounding towns, we can better meet the needs of the public by building more greenways faster. Next slide. We are also in the process of updating our master plan to develop the vision and the priorities for the next decade of our park and recreation system, including our Greenway Master Plan. Please visit mecplaybook.com to learn more about our master plan effort, to complete online surveys, and to sign up for alerts about future public meetings. You can also visit parkandrec.com to learn more about our existing parks and greenways. Next slide. Since greenways have been a consistent public demand, the city and county collaborated to develop the Cross Charlotte Trail. This plan capitalized on a regional trail connection identified in the county's master plan, as well as the Carolina Thread Trail plan. The Cross Charlotte Trail network will eventually connect trails from South Carolina to Cabarrus County via the Little Sugar Creek Greenway, Toby Creek Greenway, and portions of Mallard Creek Greenway, which we'll be talking about today. This regional trail not only serves as a significant recreation amenity, but also as a means for active transportation to connect residents and visitors to parks, jobs, shopping, and entertainment within the county. I'll turn it back over to Scott to talk more about the Cross Charlotte Trail planning effort.
The City of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County have partnered to prepare a master plan for the entire Cross Charlotte Trail alignment, covering segments from the South Carolina state line all the way to Cabarrus County. Extensive alignment analysis and public outreach was conducted to determine the likely best path for the trail. That master plan was finished in 2016 and is available at charlottefuture.com/XCLT. Next slide, please. The Cross Charlotte Trail is a 26-mile north-south greenway within the city of Charlotte. There are 5 additional miles outside the city limits, which brings the total alignment to over 30 miles. At both ends, the XCLT ties into the Carolina Thread Trail, which is a regional greenway system covering 15 counties in North and South Carolina. The Cross Charlotte Trail is a key piece within that much larger vision, which includes over 1,600 miles of planned trails. Next slide. The Cross Charlotte Trail will connect to key greenway systems throughout the city. In the north, the Cross Charlotte Trail ties into the 9.9-mile Clarks Creek and Mallard Creek Greenway system. Advance the slide, please. In Center City, the Cross Charlotte Trail will connect to the city's Uptown Cycle Link system, which will carry trail users into and across Uptown Charlotte and connect to the Irwin Creek and Stewart Creek Greenway systems. In the south, the city recently completed the South Charlotte connector segment of the Cross Charlotte Trail. That 3/4 mile segment connects a future county portion of the Cross Charlotte Trail to the 5.8 mile McAlpine-McMullen 4 Mile Creek Greenway system. Altogether, the Cross Charlotte Trail network will tie together over 40 miles of trails within the city limits, connecting people and neighborhoods to parks, jobs, shopping, and entertainment in a transformative new way. Next slide. In addition to those key trail connections, there are currently about a dozen other places along the alignment where the Cross Charlotte Trail ties into other east-west bicycle networks. These are various types of bike lanes and signed bike routes that carry cyclists to and from the Cross Charlotte Trail. Next slide. We are currently preparing planning reports and initial design for the two northernmost segments of the Cross Charlotte Trail. Segments 10 and 11 of the Cross Charlotte Trail stretch from Mallard Creek Church Road to the Cabarrus County line, where the trail will tie into the Carolina Thread Trail to the north. These Mallard Creek Church Road to Cabarrus County segments total 3.7 miles of trail and will connect into key destinations, including the Clark's Mallard Creek Greenway System, UNC Charlotte, Kirk Farm Fields, PNC Music Pavilion, the Pavilion Village Shopping Center, and nearby neighborhoods. Next slide, please. With that, I'll hand it back over to Katie to talk about segment 10 of the trail, which stretches from Mallard Creek Church Road to Pavilion Boulevard.
Next slide, please. This segment of Future Trail stretches 1.4 miles from Mallard Creek Church Road to Pavilion Boulevard. The trail will be paved in asphalt or concrete. It'll be about 12 feet wide with 5-foot grass shoulders on either side. Next slide. The current proposed alignment will extend the trail from the Kirk Farm Fields parking lot along the fields parallel to the sewer line on the west side of Mallard Creek. There is a potential option to create a loop trail around the existing fields, depending on the future project budget and the impacts to the usable field space for programming. Next slide. Beyond the Kirk Farm Fields property, the proposed trail follows the sewer easement on the west side of the creek, minimizing additional clearing and avoiding most wetlands until a point close to the Queens Grant community where a bridge crossing will need to be made across the creek. Because we are in the floodplain, further modeling is taking place to have a minimal impact to the creek. The final crossing may be further downstream toward the I-45 overpass. Once on the east side of the creek, the trail will follow the top of the creek bank under I-45 and eventually under Pavilion Boulevard, where Section 11 picks up. Connections will be considered to both the Queens Grant community and the sidewalks up to Pavilion Boulevard. Next slide. I'll turn it back over to Scott to walk you through segment 11.
Segment 11 of the Cross Charlotte Trail will pick up at Pavilion Boulevard and continue towards the Cabarrus County line, alternating between the north and south sides of the creek. You can see the possible alignment alternatives under evaluation represented by the orange and yellow lines on this slide. You can also see the extensive floodplain and wetland area along the creek. This segment is expected to have a maintenance connection to the wastewater treatment facility. That would likely be the recommended terminus for this initial phase of greenway construction for reasons of public safety, constructability, and maintenance. The greenway would extend from that point when future segments in Cabarrus County are in construction. Next slide. In this area behind the Pavilion Village, the future greenway is expected to stay to the north of Mallard Creek, between the creek and a large wetland. Pavilion Village apartments are located up the hill from the greenway alignment. A connection to the apartment complex from the greenway is expected to be included and was discussed as part of the development permitting for those apartments. A small bridge or culvert will be required to cross a tributary stream towards the eastern edge of this portion. Next slide. In this section, we see the largest potential differences between the orange and yellow lines representing the two alternatives. Alternative A in yellow takes advantage of county-owned property on the south side, closer to existing neighborhoods. Alternative B in orange stays on the north side of Mallard Creek, following a sewer easement. Some impacts to private property would be required for this alignment, but overall disruption to private residential properties is expected to be minimal. A potential connection to the Circle Drive / Main Drive area is shown via a county-owned parcel. Alternative A would require 2 additional bridges over Mallard Creek, while alternative B may require higher acquisition costs. Next slide. So now that you've heard more about the Mallard Creek Church Road to Cabarrus County segments of the Cross Charlotte Trail, we want to hear more from you. Next slide. There's a feedback survey available on our Cross Charlotte Trail website. The survey will be available through Thursday, June 4th. If you have any specific questions, you can reach out to our project managers whose contact information is listed on this slide. As a reminder, the Mallard Creek Church Road to Cabarrus County segments of the Cross Charlotte Trail are currently funded for planning and design only, so there is no timetable now for their construction. You can stay up to date with these segments of the Cross Charlotte Trail and others by visiting our website at charlottefuture.com/XCLT. Thanks for listening. We hope to see you out on the trail soon.